I still remember the smell of rain that night, sharp, cold, and quiet. I parked outside the house, the one Clara and I painted together last summer. I held a bouquet in my hand, white lilies, her favorite. I wanted to surprise her. I wish I hadn't. The door was unlocked. I stepped inside, smiling like a fool. "Clara?" I called. Silence. I heard faint music upstairs, our song. For a second, I thought she'd planned something for me, too. I walked up 2 steps at a time. When I opened our bedroom door, time stopped. Daniel, Clara, together. My best friend and my wife tangled in sheets that used to smell like us. Clara screamed. Daniel froze. My hand loosened, the flowers fell to the floor. I couldn't move. Couldn't speak. My chest felt hollow, like my heart had been yanked out. "Ethan!" Clara gasped, clutching the blanket to her chest. "It's not what you think," I laughed. God, I laughed like a madman. "Not what I think, really? You want to run that line with me?" Daniel stood, trying to grab his shirt. "Man, listen, just listen to me, please." "Don't." My voice cracked. "Don't you dare say my name." He stepped forward. "It just happened. We didn't mean for it to—" "You didn't mean to?" I snapped. "You didn't mean to take the woman I married, the woman I built a life with, and—" I couldn't finish. My voice broke into a whisper. "You didn't mean to destroy me?" Clara's eyes filled with tears. "It was a mistake, Ethan. I was lonely and you were always at work." "Stop." I lifted my hand. "Don't blame this on me," she sobbed. "I didn't plan it, I swear. It just... I cut her off. "You don't just sleep with my best friend, Clara. You don't just lie to me for months." Daniel's tone hardened. "Don't talk to her like that," I turned on him. "You don't get to defend her. You don't get to speak to me. You were my brother." He stepped closer. "I messed up, I know. But we can fix this." "Please don't fix this," I whispered, my hands trembling. "You think this is something you fix? Like a leaky pipe or a broken project?" He looked down. "I don't expect forgiveness." "Good," I said coldly. "Because you'll never get it." Clara reached out, tears streaking down her face. "Please, Ethan, don't walk away. I love you." I looked at her, really looked at her, the same woman who once swore she'd never hurt me. "No," I said quietly. "You love the comfort I gave you. You love being wanted, but you don't love me." Her lips quivered. "That's not true? Then why him?" I asked. My voice trembled. "Why Daniel?" She said nothing. That silence answered everything. I took a step back. "You know, the worst part isn't what you did. It's that I didn't see it. I trusted you both with my life." Daniel's voice cracked. "Ethan, please, man, shut up!" I barked. "You had my back since college. You knew everything about me. My fears, my dreams, and you used that to stab me right where it hurt most." He looked helpless. "I swear I didn't mean to. I don't care." My voice dropped to a whisper. "You're dead to me." I turned for the door. Clara's sobs filled the room. "Please don't leave like this." "We can talk. We can fix it." I stopped at the doorway. "There's nothing left to fix." I left the lilies on the floor. The door slammed behind me with a sound that didn't echo. It shattered. Outside, the rain started pouring. It felt like the sky was mocking me. I walked to the car, soaked, shaking, my mind replaying that scene over and over. My phone buzzed. Clara calling. I stared at her name, then threw the phone onto the passenger seat. For a long time, I just sat there. My hands on the steering wheel. My heart hammering so loud I thought it might explode. Then I started the engine and drove. No direction, just movement. The city lights blurred behind tears I didn't want to shed. Every memory hit me like a blade. The first kiss, our wedding vows. Daniel standing beside me as my best man. "You're like a brother to me," he had said that night. What a joke. I drove past the bridge where Clara once said she couldn't imagine life without me. I almost stopped there. Almost. But I kept going because stopping meant facing it, and I couldn't. Not yet. Hours later, I parked by the beach. The rain had stopped, but the waves were wild, crashing like my heartbeat. I stepped out, walked to the shore, and screamed. Loud enough to wake the sea. No one answered. I sank to my knees, my hands digging into wet sand. "Why?" I whispered. "Why them? Why me?" The ocean didn't care. It just kept moving like life does, merciless, endless. That night, something inside me cracked. The part that believed in friendship. The part that believed in love. I stared into the dark horizon and made myself a promise. They took my heart. I'll take their peace. That was the night my world ended. And the night I stopped being the man I used to be. I didn't sleep for 3 nights. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw them. Clara's bare shoulders, Daniel's face twisted in guilt. The images looped until I wanted to claw them out of my skull. On the 4th night, Clara knocked on my door. "Ethan, please," she said softly. "Can we talk?" I didn't answer. She tried again. "You haven't eaten." "I made soup." "Keep it," I muttered. Her voice cracked. "You can't keep shutting me out like this." I opened the door halfway. "Like you shut me out for months?" Tears filled her eyes. "I deserve that." "But please don't hate me," I laughed, dry, bitter. "You're asking me not to hate you after what you did?" She stepped closer. "I love you, Ethan." "No," I said, shaking my head. "You loved what I gave you, security, attention, comfort." "Not me," she started crying. "I made a mistake." "Stop calling it that," I snapped. "A mistake is forgetting an anniversary, not sleeping with my best friend." Her lip trembled. "I don't know how to fix this." "You can't." I slammed the door. Her sobs echoed down the hallway, fading into silence. The next morning, Daniel called. "Ethan, please, man, just hear me out. I don't have anything to say to you." He sighed. "I know I messed up. I swear I didn't mean to hurt you. Then why did you?" He went quiet. "I don't know, it just happened." I clenched my fist. "You don't destroy a friendship by accident." "I lost control," he said quietly. "No," I said. "You made a choice," he exhaled. "You're my brother." "Don't let this end everything," I laughed bitterly. "You ended it the moment you touched her." "I'm sorry, Ethan." "I don't need your sorry." I hung up. I sat there for a long time, the phone still buzzing on the table. Then I opened my laptop, pulled up our company's legal documents, and drafted my exit. When I told him, Daniel's voice shook. "You're selling your shares? Just like that?" "I'm done," I said. "I can't build anything next to you." He tried to sound calm. "You're being emotional." "Emotional?" I snapped. "You took my wife, Daniel. What did you expect? Congratulations." He sighed. "This isn't smart. You'll regret it later." "I already regret knowing you," I said, and hung up. By the end of the week, the papers were signed. My name disappeared from the company logo we designed together. It didn't even hurt anymore, it just felt empty. Emma came over that night. She looked at me and frowned. "You look like hell." "Thanks," I said. She sat on the couch beside me. "You can't keep isolating yourself." "I'm fine." "You're not." I stared at the floor. He was my best friend. She was my wife. "How do you come back from that?" "You don't," she said gently. "You bury it and start over." I sighed. "Feels like I buried myself with it." Emma placed a hand on my shoulder. "Then dig yourself out. Burn what's left." Her words stuck with me. That night, I opened the old chest under my bed. Photos, letters, anniversary cards. Memories that once meant love now tasted like poison. I carried them outside, poured lighter fluid, and struck a match. The flames rose fast. Clara's smile curled into ash. Daniel's handwriting turned to smoke. Our wedding photo blistered, then vanished. I whispered, "Goodbye." Emma stood in the doorway watching quietly. "You okay?" "No," I said. "But it's a start." The firelight flickered across my hands, trembling but steady. I felt the faintest sense of release, as if the weight on my chest finally cracked open, letting air in. Emma stepped closer. "What now?" I stared into the fire. "Nothing." "I let them go," she nodded. "And if they come back?" "They won't," I said. "And if they do, I'll be gone." She smiled sadly. "You always were stubborn." "I have to be," I whispered. "It's the only thing keeping me alive." We stood there in silence, the ashes floating into the night sky like dead stars. After she left, I poured myself a drink and sat by the window. The street was empty, the city quiet. I watched the last bit of smoke fade into the dark. That's when it hit me. My trust was dead, and every death deserves a funeral. So I raised my glass and whispered to no one, "Here's to trust. May it never come back." The whiskey burned my throat, but the pain felt right. Clean. That night, I didn't dream of Clara or Daniel. I just stared into the dark until the sun came up, wondering who I was now that everything I believed in had burned away. It had been a month since I burned everything that reminded me of them. I thought I was done with pain, but grief doesn't leave, it just learns to whisper. One afternoon, Emma handed me a note. "She wants to meet you," she said. "Who?" "Sophie Reed, Daniel's wife." The name hit me like a punch. Why would she want that? Emma shrugged. "Maybe she needs closure. Maybe you both do." I almost tore the note apart. But something inside me, curiosity, maybe cruelty, made me go. The cafe smelled like burnt coffee and rain. I spotted her near the window, hands wrapped around a cold cup. Sophie looked fragile, eyes red, face pale, hair undone. When she saw me, she tried to smile. "Ethan," I sat down. "You look worse than I feel," she laughed weakly. "Then we're both a mess." Silence sat between us for a while. She finally said, "I knew." I frowned. "About the affair?" She nodded, tears glistening. "Not at first. But I knew before you walked in that night. I just didn't know how to stop it." My stomach twisted. "You knew and didn't tell me?" "I wanted to," she whispered. "But every time I tried, I froze. I thought maybe it would stop on its own." "It never does," I said. "People don't stop sinning because they feel guilty. They stop when it ruins them." She looked down. "I guess we both learned that the hard way." The silence felt heavy, like smoke choking the air. I asked quietly, "Why'd you want to meet me?" She wiped her eyes. "Because you're the only one who understands. Everyone tells me to move on, but how do you move on when your whole world was built on lies?" I stared at her hands trembling around the coffee mug. "You don't move on. You crawl through the wreckage and hope something living is left." Her lips quivered. "Does it get easier?" I shook my head. "No, you just get used to the ache." Her tears fell silently. He said it didn't mean anything. But when I looked at him, I saw something real. The same way he used to look at me. I swallowed hard. He said the same thing to me. That it just happened. Like betrayal's some kind of accident. Sophie gave a bitter laugh. "Daniel's always been good at excuses." I leaned back. "He was good at pretending, too. I used to think he'd take a bullet for me." She met my eyes. "And he ended up shooting you instead." That line hit harder than I expected. I nodded slowly. "Yeah, point blank." We sat in silence again, two ghosts sharing the same coffin. After a moment, she whispered, "Do you hate her?" "Yes," I said without hesitation. Then after a pause, "And no, I hate what she did. But the part of me that loved her won't die. It just hurts to carry," she nodded, wiping her cheek. "I feel that." "Every day," I asked softly. "So what now? You going to leave him?" Her voice cracked. "I don't know, I tried, but I keep thinking about the good years. The laughter. The promises. Those aren't real anymore," I said. "They're just memories with expiration dates." She smiled sadly. "You sound like someone who stopped believing in love." "I did," I said. "The night I walked in on them," her eyes softened. "Maybe not completely. You still came here," I looked at her. "Maybe I just wanted to see what betrayal looks like from the other side." "Ugly," she said, half smiling through tears. I nodded. "Very." We both laughed, a broken kind of laugh that sounded more like pain than humor. When the rain started outside, I didn't move. Neither did she. She whispered, "Do you think we'll ever forgive them?" I shook my head. Forgiveness is mercy. They don't deserve that, and us? We'll survive. "That's enough," she leaned forward, her voice trembling. "I'm glad you came." "Me too," I admitted quietly. "I didn't think I could talk about it without wanting to break something." "You didn't," she said softly. "You just broke silence." We sat there until the rain stopped. When I finally stood, she did too. "Will I see you again?" she asked. "Maybe," I said. "If we ever learn how to breathe again." She gave a faint smile. "Then I'll wait." I left the cafe with my chest a little lighter and my head a little heavier. That night, I wrote in my journal, maybe revenge isn't about hurting them. Maybe it's about healing myself. But as I stared at the page, the words didn't feel true yet, because deep down, I still wanted them to burn, and I wasn't ready to let the fire die. Daniel's first call came on a Monday morning. I let it ring until it died. The second came an hour later. I ignored that too. By the third, I picked up, just to hear him squirm. "Ethan," he said, his voice rough. "We need to talk." "We?" I asked. "Pretty sure we buried that word a long time ago." "It's business," he said quickly. "The firm's not doing well. You know how to handle the investors. I cut him off." "You mean the investors I brought in? The ones who actually trusted me?" He sighed. "I made a mistake." "Don't make it worse," I laughed quietly. "You already did that yourself." He went silent. I could almost hear him trying to find the right words. "Ethan, I'm asking as a friend." "Stop!" I snapped. "Don't ever use that word again." Then I hung up. Later that week, I met Liam, the same man Daniel had pushed out a year ago. He grinned when he saw me. "Didn't think I'd ever see you again." "I'm done helping snakes," I said. "You still got that proposal you showed me? The one Daniel called a waste of time?" "Yeah," he smirked. "You in?" "I'm in," I said. "Let's build something better. And make sure he knows it's us." Liam raised his cup. "To revenge?" "To resurrection," I said. Days blurred into nights. Emails, calls, contracts. I threw myself into work. The numbers grew, the noise rose, and for once, I didn't feel empty. 2 months later, our firm launched. By the end of the first week, 3 of Daniel's biggest clients had switched over. Liam called one evening, voice full of laughter. He's panicking. Investors are threatening to pull out. You should have heard him today. He sounded like a man drowning. I smiled faintly. Good. Maybe he'll finally understand what betrayal feels like. You sure you're not enjoying this too much? Liam teased. Maybe, I said. But after what he did, this feels fair. Sophie messaged me that night. Coffee tomorrow. I stared at the screen for a while before replying. Same place? Yes. When I arrived, she was already there, tracing circles on her cup. You look tired, I said, sitting down. So do you, she murmured. I've been busy. I heard, she said. Daniel's company is falling apart. I gave a small shrug. Can't say I'm surprised. Her eyes met mine. You did this, didn't you? I didn't answer, she sighed softly. Part of me wants to be angry. The other part understands. Which part's louder? I asked. The one that understands. We both smiled faintly, like two people who'd forgotten how. She leaned forward. Does it help? Watching him lose everything? More than I thought it would, I admitted. But it's not enough. What would be enough? I don't know. Maybe peace. Maybe closure. Maybe watching him beg, her lips trembled. You still hate him that much? I don't think it's hate anymore, I said quietly. It's justice. Justice doesn't always heal, she whispered. Neither does forgiveness, I replied. We met more often after that. Sometimes we talked for hours. Sometimes we just sat in silence, two souls too broken to fix each other, yet unwilling to let go. One evening I found her waiting outside the cafe, her eyes glossy. What happened? I asked. Daniel came by, she said, voice shaking. He said you're trying to destroy him, I smirked. He's not wrong, she stepped closer. He's losing everything. He said he still loves me. And do you believe him? Tears slid down her cheeks. I don't know what I believe anymore. Something in me softened. Hey, I said gently. You don't owe him anything. She looked up at me, eyes filled with pain. Then why does it still hurt? Because love doesn't disappear when trust does, I said. It just turns into something colder, her voice broke. I'm so tired of hurting. Before I could think, she stepped forward and hugged me. Her body shook against mine. Her tears soaked my shirt. I froze at first, but then I held her. And for the first time in months, I felt something real. She whispered, I'm sorry. For what? For everything, for them. For you, I closed my eyes. Don't be. We stayed like that, holding on as if we were both afraid to fall apart. The world outside faded. The noise. The rain, the ghost of what we'd lost. In that silence, her breath against my neck, I didn't know if what I felt was love or pain. Maybe both. When she finally pulled away, I saw myself reflected in her tears, broken, raw, alive. And for the first time since everything ended, I realized something. Revenge might taste bitter, but it still made me feel alive. The rain started before midnight, soft at first, then relentless. I was sitting by the window when I heard the knock. 3 slow taps. When I opened the door, Sophie stood there soaked, trembling, eyes red. "Sophie?" I whispered. "What happened?" She didn't answer. Her lipstick was smudged, her hair clinging to her face. "Can I come in?" she asked. I nodded and stepped aside. She walked past me, dripping onto the floor, her heels clicking like distant thunder. "Did he do something?" I asked quietly. She laughed bitterly. "He always does something, doesn't he?" I grabbed a towel, handed it to her. "Here." She wiped her face, hands shaking. "It was tonight. The charity event. He made a joke about me. In front of everyone. Called me the wife who can't keep her husband interested." My fists clenched. "He said that? Publicly?" She nodded. "They laughed, Ethan. Everyone laughed." I took a step closer. "You didn't deserve that." Her voice broke. I stood there pretending it didn't hurt. Pretending I wasn't dying inside. I swallowed hard. "You shouldn't have to pretend anymore." She looked up at me, eyes glistening. "Then why do I still feel like I'm the one who ruined everything?" "Because you're still trying to make sense of someone heartless." Her breath hitched. "I hate him." "I know," I said softly. "I do too." Silence. Only the rain filled the space between us. She sat on the couch, hugging the towel, looking small and lost. "I didn't know where else to go," she murmured. "You came to the right place," I said. "You're safe here." Her eyes met mine. "Am I?" I hesitated. "As safe as I can make you." Something in her gaze changed, vulnerable, searching. "I'm tired, Ethan," she whispered. "Tired of being invisible? Tired of hurting." I know the feeling. "Do you ever stop thinking about them?" "Every time I close my eyes, they're still there," I admitted. Laughing, lying, breaking everything. She moved closer. "Sometimes I wish I could forget." "Sometimes I wish I couldn't remember," I said. Her fingers brushed my arm, light, uncertain. "Maybe we both just want to feel something real again." I didn't move. "Couldn't," she whispered. "Do you?" My voice came out rough. "More than you know." The next moment was quiet. No music, no words, just the sound of our hearts stumbling toward a mistake. Her hand found mine. I should have pulled away. I didn't. She leaned in, slow, trembling, her breath mixing with mine. "Sophie," I said, barely audible. "Don't," she whispered. "Just don't." And I didn't. Our lips met, hesitant at first. Then desperate, like 2 people trying to erase the pain through each other's skin. The rain outside grew louder. The thunder closer, but it didn't matter. Nothing mattered except the warmth, the ache, the need to feel alive. When it was over, we sat there in silence, breathing unevenly. The room heavy with everything we didn't say. She rested her head on my shoulder. "Was that wrong?" "Yes," I said quietly. "But it felt right," she smiled weakly. "That's the problem, isn't it?" "Yeah," I murmured. "That's the problem." Morning came slow, gray light spilling through the curtains. I woke to find her sitting at the edge of the bed, my shirt draped over her shoulders. For a while, neither of us spoke. Finally, she said, "I don't regret it." I looked at her, really looked at her, her eyes raw, honest, alive. "Neither do I," said. She turned slightly, her voice fragile. "What happens now?" "I don't know," I admitted. "But I know we can't go back." Her eyes softened. "We already crossed it, didn't we?" "The line?" "Yeah," I said. "We did." She stood up, gathered her things quietly. "He'll know, Ethan, he always knows." "Let him," I said. "He took everything from us. Maybe it's time he loses something too." She paused at the door, then looked back. This wasn't revenge, was it? I shook my head slowly. "No, it was survival." She gave a faint smile. "Then I guess we survived, at least for tonight." And just like that, she was gone, leaving the door half open, rain still falling outside, the air smelling of guilt and something dangerously close to hope. I sat there for a long time, staring at the empty space she'd left behind, knowing one truth I couldn't escape. We didn't mean to cross the line, but maybe, deep down, we both wanted to. The message came on a Sunday morning. "We need to talk." I drove to Sophie's apartment with my chest tight. She opened the door before I could knock twice. Her face was pale, her hands shaking. "What's wrong?" I asked. She didn't speak. She just handed me a small white test stick, 2 pink lines. I froze. No, Sophie, her lips trembled. It's real, Ethan. I tried to breathe, but air didn't come. How long? 5 weeks, she whispered. Maybe 6, my stomach turned. You're sure? She nodded, tears pooling. I've taken 3 tests. I dropped onto the couch, staring at the floor. Oh God, she sat beside me, whispering. I didn't plan this. Neither did I said. My voice barely a sound. The silence between us was deafening. Finally, she whispered, What do we do now? I looked at her, helpless. I don't know, Sophie. I really don't, her voice cracked. He's been so kind lately, ever since that night at the event. He thinks he's making things right. I swallowed hard.
Does he know?
She shook her head. Not yet, but he will soon. He's been hoping for this for months. I pressed my palms against my face. And when he finds out? She whispered, He'll think it's his. I dropped my hands. And you'll let him? Tears spilled down her cheeks. What choice do I have? If he finds out the truth, he'll destroy me. He'll destroy us. Us? I said bitterly. We already destroyed ourselves, Sophie. She flinched. Don't say that. It's true, I said. We crossed a line and now life's making us pay for it. She grabbed my hand. Ethan, please don't turn this into punishment. It's not, then what is it? I interrupted. A miracle? Because it doesn't feel like one. Her grip tightened. It's a child. That single word shattered something in me. I stood up and paced the room. You can't keep living like this. Pretending, lying, smiling beside him like nothing's wrong, she whispered. You think I want to? Every night I see your face in my head and hate myself for it. I stopped, meeting her eyes. Then tell him, I can't. Why? Because it would destroy everything, she said, breaking. And you don't want that either. I stared at her for a long moment. Maybe I do. Her tears fell faster. You don't mean that. I don't know what I mean anymore, I said quietly. A week later, I saw them together. Daniel had his arm around her, his face glowing with joy. They were in front of their house, neighbors congratulating them. I stayed in the car watching from across the street like a ghost. When Sophie met my eyes just for a second, I saw fear. Then she looked away. Daniel's laughter carried across the road. We're finally going to be parents, he said to someone. My stomach churned. I wanted to shout, to tell the world the truth. But instead I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. Later that night, Sophie called. Did you see us? She asked. I did. I didn't want you to, she whispered. You looked happy, I said flatly. I wasn't. Daniel's glowing, Sophie. You gave him exactly what he wanted. I gave him a lie, she said. And lies always cost more than truth, I muttered. She was quiet for a moment. You hate me now, don't you? I hesitated. No, I hate the situation. I hate that I can't even touch you without feeling like I'm stealing something sacred. Her voice trembled. I wish I could fix this. You can't, I said. Neither of us can. I think about you every day, she whispered. Every time he smiles at me, I feel sick. Don't, I said. Don't drown yourself in guilt. This is already punishment enough, she sniffled. Do you still care about me? I closed my eyes. Too much. There was a long pause before she said softly, Then stay. Even if it's just like this, quietly, from far away. I let out a shaky breath. You know that's not living, Sophie. I know, she whispered. But it's all we have. When the call ended, I stared at my reflection in the dark window. Daniel's laughter still echoed in my ears. Sophie's tears still burned in my mind, and for the first time, I realized that karma doesn't come crashing. It arrives softly, step by step, in whispers and guilt, and it had already begun. I didn't have to lift a finger. The universe did it for me. Daniel's company began to rot from the inside, contracts canceled, investors fleeing, whispers spreading like wildfire. By the time I read the headlines, it was already too late for him. Business tycoon Daniel Reed under investigation for fraud and misconduct. I almost smiled. Liam called that afternoon. You see the news? He asked. Yeah, I said. You leaked it? He chuckled. I didn't leak it. I just pointed the right reporter in the right direction. The documents leaked themselves. I leaned back in my chair. Karma's got good timing. Poetic, isn't it? Liam said. He tried to play God in business. Now he's the sacrifice. Let him burn, I muttered. A week later, I ran into Clara at a grocery store parking lot. She looked thinner, pale, drained. She saw me, hesitated, then walked over. "Ethan, Clara, did you know?" she asked. "About what?" "His company." The fraud. The lies, I met her eyes. "I didn't need to. I already knew what kind of man he was." She looked away. "I left him," I nodded slowly. "Took you long enough." Her lips trembled. "You hate me, don't you?" I sighed. I did. "For a long time, but now? I just pity you both." Tears gathered in her eyes. "I thought I was choosing love. Turns out I was choosing poison." "Poison tastes sweet at first," I said quietly. She whispered, "He's lost everything. The house, the cars, the investors. Everyone's abandoned him." "Not everyone," I said. "He still has his lies." She shook her head. "He's drinking every night." "Sophie's leaving him too," I froze. "She told you that?" "She didn't have to. I saw the papers on his desk." I felt my chest tighten. "He deserves it," Clara nodded slowly. "Maybe we all do." Then she turned and walked away, leaving me standing there with too many ghosts. That night, Sophie called. "It's done," she said. "You filed?" "Yes," she whispered. "He doesn't know yet." "But I can't keep pretending," I exhaled slowly. "You sure about this?" "I'm sure about what I can't live with anymore," she said. "Lies, guilt, fear." I hesitated. "And the baby?" Her voice softened. "He still thinks it's his. I'll tell him when the time's right." "When will that be?" "When he's too broken to fight," she said. There was silence on the line. Then she whispered, "Ethan." It's starting to feel like justice. I stared at the dark window. No, justice feels clean. This feels messy. But it's real, she said. For once, it's real. 2 nights later, he came to me. I was closing the office when I heard the pounding on the glass door. "Ethan." His voice was slurred, heavy with whiskey and regret. I opened the door slowly. He stumbled in, eyes bloodshot, shirt wrinkled. "Daniel," I said flatly. "You shouldn't be here." He laughed bitterly. "Where else should I be? My company's gone. My wife's gone. My friends, hell, they don't even answer my calls anymore." I crossed my arms. "That's what happens when the mask slips," he glared at me. "Don't act like you're better than me. You think I don't know what it's like to lose?" "I know exactly what it's like to lose," I said coldly. "Because of you." He pointed a shaky finger at me. "You think this is karma? You think the universe gives a damn about right or wrong?" I stepped closer. "Oh, it does. You just never listened when it whispered. Now it's screaming in your face." He laughed, but it came out broken. "Everything I touch turns to ash." I looked him dead in the eye. "Because that's what you did to me." He stared at me, confused, almost wounded. "You're talking in riddles, Ethan. You sound like a preacher." "Maybe I am," I said. "And you're finally sitting in the pew." He took a step back, shaking his head. "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" "No," I said quietly. "I'm just watching karma do what it does best." He looked down at his trembling hands. "I didn't mean to hurt anyone." "You always mean to," I said. "You just don't care until it's you bleeding." For a second, something flickered in his eyes. Guilt, maybe understanding. Then it was gone. He chuckled darkly. "Guess we're both broken men now." "Difference is," I said, "I'm learning to live with my cracks. You're still trying to hide yours." He stared at me for a long moment, then staggered toward the door. "Maybe you're right," he muttered. "Maybe I deserve this." "You do," I said softly. He paused, turned slightly, and whispered, "Then maybe we all do." Then he left, his shadow stretching across the floor like a confession no one wanted to hear. And as the door closed behind him, I realized something chilling. Karma doesn't shout. It whispers. And tonight, it spoke my name. I knew it was only a matter of time. Secrets don't stay buried forever. They rot until they claw their way out. Sophie's belly had started to show, small but unmistakable. Every time I saw her, the guilt twisted deeper. She tried to smile through it, but her eyes gave her away. That morning, she called me, her voice trembling. "Ethan, he knows," my chest tightened. "What happened?" "He overheard me on the phone with Dr. Larson. I didn't realize he was home. He heard everything, the dates, the due time, everything." I felt the blood drain from my face. "Sophie, what did you say?" She was crying. "He asked if the baby was his." I couldn't lie anymore. I gripped the desk, my pulse hammering. And now?
He left, she whispered.
He didn't say where. Just slammed the door. I closed my eyes. He'll come here. I'm so sorry, she sobbed. I didn't mean for this. It's okay, I said softly. It was always going to end this way. By evening, the storm came. Not rain, Daniel. The door to my office flew open with a crash. His face was flushed, eyes red, fists clenched. You, he hissed. You took everything from me. I stood slowly, keeping my voice level. Daniel, don't you say my name, he roared, slamming his fist against the wall. You think I wouldn't find out? You think I wouldn't hear it in her voice? I swallowed hard. You were never supposed to. Don't you dare justify it. He snapped, stepping closer. My wife, my family. My future, you stole it. I met his glare. No, Daniel. You lost it yourself. His laugh came out broken. You think this is some kind of moral victory? You think I deserve this? I think you made your own bed, I said quietly. You just never expected to lie in it. He lunged toward me, grabbing my collar. Say it was you. It was me, I said calmly. He froze. My words hit him harder than any punch. His grip loosened, his breath ragged. You destroyed me, he whispered. No, I said. You destroyed yourself a long time ago. I just stopped saving you. He stumbled back, shaking his head. You don't understand what you've done. You've ruined her. You've ruined me. I didn't ruin her, I said. You did when you made her live in fear. His voice cracked. Fear of what? Of you, I said. Of your temper. Your pride. Your control. He stared at me, face twisting between rage and disbelief. She said she loved me. She said she tried to, I replied. There's a difference. He let out a strangled sound, half laugh, half sob. You think you're the better man? I never said that. Then what the hell are you saying? That this, I gestured between us, was always going to end like this. Lies only burn longer when you feed them. He turned away, running a hand through his hair. I gave her everything, he muttered. The house, the comfort, the life she wanted. You gave her a cage, I said softly. He spun around, eyes wild. And you think you gave her freedom? No, I said. But I gave her truth. He stared at me, trembling. Truth doesn't fix this. It never does, I said. But it's all that's left. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. The only sound was his uneven breathing. Then his knees buckled. He sank to the floor, his head in his hands. She's carrying your child, he whispered. Yours. I said nothing. He looked up, eyes glossy. Tell me it isn't true. I couldn't. He laughed bitterly, tears streaming down his face. I hate you. God, I hate you. I know, I said. I wish I could undo it, he choked out. All of it, the lies. The deals. The anger. I crouched beside him. Then maybe start by forgiving yourself. He shook his head violently. There's no forgiveness left. Yes, there is, I said quietly. But you have to stop looking for it in the people you broke. He stared at the floor. She's gone, isn't she? She's gone, I said. He let out a hollow laugh. Then what's left of me? Whatever you decide to rebuild, I replied. He didn't answer. He just sat there shaking, his breath uneven. For the first time, I didn't feel anger. Not hate, just pity. When he finally looked up, I saw it in his eyes. The man he could have been, buried under the ruin he built himself. He stood slowly, wiped his face, and whispered, Maybe this is karma. Maybe, I said. Then he walked out, leaving behind nothing but silence and the faint echo of a man who'd finally faced himself. And for the first time, I didn't want revenge anymore. Just peace. Daniel left town 3 days after that night. No calls, no messages, no closure, just silence. The man who once filled every room with arrogance was now a ghost wandering through the wreckage he built. Sophie told me quietly. He packed his things in the middle of the night. Didn't even say goodbye, I nodded. He was already gone long before he walked out the door. She looked at me with tired eyes. Do you think he'll ever come back? No, I said. Some people burn their bridges so completely that even the ashes refuse to hold shape. A week later, a letter came. The handwriting stopped me cold. Clara's. For a moment, I considered throwing it away. But curiosity won. I opened it. Ethan, it began. I know you have no reason to read this, But I need to say I'm sorry. Not just for what I did, but for who I was. I didn't deserve your love. I hope wherever you are, you've found peace. No begging, no excuses. Just guilt pressed between ink and paper. I stared at it for a long time, then folded it back and placed it in the drawer. I didn't reply. Some apologies deserve silence more than words. Sophie went into labor a month later. When the nurse handed me the baby, my hands trembled. "He's beautiful," I whispered. Sophie smiled weakly, her eyes shimmering. "He has your eyes." I looked down at him, small, fragile, pure. In that moment, I felt everything collide inside me. Grief, joy, guilt, awe. "He doesn't deserve the mess we made," I said softly. She reached for my hand. "Then we make sure he never feels it." Her words sank deep. "Do you think we can?" "We have to," she said. "Because he's the only thing good that came out of all this pain." I nodded, feeling tears blur my vision. "I don't know if I deserve to be his father." "You don't have to be perfect," she whispered. "Just honesty. The very thing that destroyed us was now the only thing that could save us." I kissed the top of my son's head. "Hello, little one," I murmured. "I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll try." A few days later, I visited Mr. Carson, my old mentor, the man who'd taught me that success without integrity was just failure in disguise. He smiled when he saw me. "It's been too long, Ethan." "It has," I said, sitting across from him. "I needed perspective." He chuckled softly. "That usually means life's been teaching you lessons the hard way." "You could say that," I admitted. "I thought I was getting revenge. But in the end, I think I was just trying to feel alive again." He leaned forward. "And did it work?" I hesitated. "For a while, but it didn't last. Revenge doesn't heal. It just distracts." He nodded knowingly. "Sometimes karma doesn't punish people, Ethan. It teaches them through others. Maybe you weren't karma's weapon. Maybe you were its student." I frowned. "Student?" "Yes," he said. "Karma isn't about balance through pain. It's about awakening through consequence. You didn't destroy Daniel. You became the mirror he refused to look into." I let that sink in. "So what does that make me now?" He smiled. "Someone who can rebuild." I looked out his window, the afternoon sun spilling through the glass, warm and blinding. "Rebuild. I'm not sure where to start." "Start with forgiveness," he said. "Not for them. For yourself," I sighed. "That's harder than it sounds," he chuckled. "The best things usually are." That night, I sat on my porch, holding my son in my arms. The air was cool, the city quiet. He slept peacefully, unaware of the wreckage that birthed him. Sophie joined me, wrapping a blanket around us. "He's out like a light," she whispered. "Yeah," I said softly. "Maybe he's dreaming of something better than what we were." She leaned her head on my shoulder. "Maybe he's dreaming of what we'll become." For a moment, everything was still. The chaos, the guilt, the revenge, all of it faded beneath the soft rhythm of my son's breathing. "I used to think justice meant making them pay," I said quietly. "And now?" she asked. "Now I think justice is learning how to live without hate." She smiled faintly. "That's forgiveness." I looked at her, then down at the baby. Maybe that's what peace feels like. The wind moved through the trees like a whisper, carrying the last remnants of anger away. I didn't chase it this time, because for the first time since everything fell apart, I finally let it go. The morning air smelled like spring. Soft, clean, forgiving. My son tugged on my hand, his laughter echoing through the park. "Dad, look!" "Butterflies," I smiled. "Careful, buddy. Don't scare them." Sophie walked beside me, her hair catching the sunlight. "He's getting faster every week," she said. "Yeah," I replied, watching him run ahead. "He's got your energy," she laughed quietly. "And your stubbornness," I chuckled. "That's not my fault. He just refuses to give up." We walked in silence for a bit, the kind that didn't feel heavy anymore. Birds sang above us, kids played in the distance, and for once I wasn't haunted by the past, only shaped by it. Sophie glanced at me. "You've been quiet today." "Just thinking," I said. "About what?" I looked at our son, now crouching near a puddle trying to scoop a butterfly with his tiny hands. "About how something so small can bring this much peace." She smiled softly. "You've changed." "Have I?" I asked. Completely, she said. You used to look for storms. Now you notice sunlight. I exhaled slowly. Guess I got tired of thunder, she nudged me gently. You found peace, Ethan. That's rare. I nodded. Peace wasn't what I was chasing, though. What were you chasing? Justice, I admitted. Revenge, closure, but all I really wanted was to stop hurting. She sighed, her voice barely above a whisper. And did you? I looked at her. Almost. Almost? She asked. Pain doesn't vanish, I said. It just learns how to sit quietly in the corner. Her hand slipped into mine. Then let it sit.
Don't feed it, I smiled faintly.
You sound like Mr. Carson, she grinned. Smart man. I still remember what he told you. Karma doesn't punish. It teaches. Yeah, I murmured. And I finally understood what he meant. We sat down on a bench watching our son chase sunlight. The grass glowed gold, and for a while, it felt like the world had forgiven us too. Sophie leaned back. Do you ever think about them? I hesitated. Sometimes, Daniel, she asked. Mostly him, I said. Not out of anger. More out of wonder. Wonder, I nodded. I wonder if he ever found peace. Or if he's still running from the same ghosts. She looked down. He was complicated. We all were, I said quietly. We broke each other trying to fill our own cracks. Sophie's eyes softened. And Clara? I paused before answering. I don't hate her anymore. I used to think forgiveness meant letting them off the hook. But now I think it just means letting myself breathe. She smiled gently. You did more than breathe, Ethan. You rebuilt, I chuckled. With your help. She looked away, pretending to watch our son. We both needed rebuilding. Guess that's why we found each other, I said. Fate? She asked, smirking slightly. Maybe just bad luck that turned good. She laughed, a sound that used to sting but now healed. Our son ran back to us, holding a crushed flower. For you, Mom. Sophie took it carefully. It's beautiful, thank you. He turned to me. Dad, do butterflies ever stop flying? I knelt down. Sometimes, yeah, but only when they find a place that feels safe. He nodded seriously, then looked around. So, this park is safe? I smiled. The safest. He ran off again, his laughter drifting through the trees. Sophie whispered, He's going to be okay. He already is, I said. He doesn't carry our ghosts. She looked at me, her eyes bright. And you? I took a deep breath, feeling the breeze brush past my face. I think I finally buried mine. You sure? She teased softly. Yeah, I said. I even gave them a funeral years ago, she chuckled. Then maybe it's time to live, I smiled. We already are. As the sun began to set, the park turned golden, like the world was wrapped in quiet forgiveness. I watched my son spin in circles, chasing light he'd never catch. And that was okay. Some things aren't meant to be caught. Sophie leaned her head against my shoulder. What are you thinking? I whispered. That betrayal gave me everything I never knew I needed. She smiled. Peace? Peace, I said. And purpose. The wind carried her laughter through the fading light, and for the first time the word forever didn't sound like a promise or a curse. It just sounded real. And as the world grew quiet around me, I realized this was it. The end I never saw coming. The one I finally deserved.